really important that we begin to change the mindset of young people to know that your vote counts.
They don't understand that the legislative arm of government is actually a co-equal arm of government.
We have an incredible amount of potential.
Whatever it is I was doing, because of my personal DNA, it had to be of an international standard. Which is what, seriously speaking, is all about.
Hello there. Driving up to the studio today for this recording, I saw a mother on the street with her daughter, who was about maybe 10 years old, and they're trying to cross the street. Mother holding the girl's hand very tightly, and the young girl yawning away, not worried about what mother was thinking about. But it kind of situates or put my mind to the topic I'm discussing today. The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun, right? So what I'm talking about is not new. But again, it's something that touches a lot of people all the time. The future being the children that will succeed you. Every parent dreams of that happening somehow or the other, even though we're successful at it or not. So on the show today, I am talking fertility. And I have two specialists in the house who are medics, and then two specialists because they have experienced it one way or the other. We'll take a break, and then we will come today to talk seriously about fertility and new dimensions around it. We'll be back. Much as fertility is not a new topic, it still remains something like a haze for a lot of people, understanding what it is. Somehow or the other, it seems like more often than not, we are seeing people who have this problem. The medics will be addressing the question of whether this is becoming a more typical problem or more reported. But I read the book recently, which is called Breaking Through the Haze. Now, reading this book, I was already going to do this anyway. But when I read the book, I thought it would be nice to have the young lady in the studio with us, and because I believe this book can help some people. It's her experience. It's written by Nneka Kyari. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're a fine girl, you know that.
Thank you.
No, but when people say you're a fine girl, how does that do you?
I just say thank you.
Just say thank you.
Yes.
Now, but today you're a proud mother of twins, a boy and a girl. But it took you, how many years did you wait to have those children?
I waited for 4 years.
Is 4 years too much to wait?
For someone going through infertility, it's like 400 years because every morning you wake up with the same issue and you're wondering how to break through.
Mm-hmm. Why I find your story interesting is the fact that initially you didn't get married and say, I want to have a baby. It was like, you were going to wait anyway. Mm-hmm. When they said wait now, you were not telling God, why are you making me wait? Tell me about that.
I got married and I didn't know I had infertility issues. I've been living with the syndrome for a very long time. And when I got married and my husband noticed what was going on.
Your husband noticed? That's strange, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Because most times husbands are disconnected from this thing, am I right? Mm-hmm. Most times.
But my challenge was that I wasn't menstruating. And I thought it was a problem that, I didn't know it was a problem. I thought it was just the way my cycle was. But my husband noticed that this is a problem, and we went to the hospital, and that was how the journey to overcome infertility began.
Now, in deciding to, because you really didn't want to do this, but I said you should, and your husband supported you. Mm-hmm. In deciding to write the book, I believe that's why you're willing to share your experience. Tell me why you wanted to share this experience with women.
Because going through infertility is a confusing, a hard journey. And there are so many, you get lots of opinions from different doctors, from friends and family, and you feel like you're in a haze. But going through infertility brought me closer to God, which is what our challenges should do. Should bring us closer to God and not push us far away from God. It brought me closer to God and made me realize a lot of things. And I made up my mind to work on my relationship with God, and it brought me out of my challenge in the shortest time possible. And I decided to reach out to women, especially those who were waiting on God for the fruit of the womb. I reached out to them and shared my testimony with them, and it was like a miracle. It was novel. They were so happy, and they got their results. Today they have their children, and I decided to share my story with the world to help people out of their personal challenges.
Well, since this can reach many more people because it's available in most bookshops around Lagos and around Nigeria, and also Online as well?
Yes, online.
You said it's available on Konga?
Konga, yes.
Okay, but you see, the interesting thing about yours is the first time you met a doctor, and the doctor says, hey, go do this. You said, no. Why did you disregard the doctor?
Because what he said did not resonate. It was strange that he's trying to find out what was going on with me with an invasive procedure. And this was a warning sign, and I decided to pause and find out actually what was going on. So I started to study, find out about how the diagnosis and the symptoms I was exhibiting.
Okay, well, unfortunately, Dr. Faye Iketubosin is also a personal friend, and I know he's one of the top, what they call ART, or, doctors in Nigeria today. So I have him in the studio with me. Faye, join us now. It's nice to have you. Welcome. I'm not going to shake your hands, but I should. Thanks, bro.
Thank you.
Have your seat. Fortunately, we've had a little chat with Nneka before, but what I find interesting is, what I would like you to address, first of all, is infertility becoming more of a problem in Nigeria, or are we just talking more about it? Do we have any proof?
I think it's a bit of both. There is more awareness. People are more open to discuss infertility issues now than they were, say, 20 years ago. And because of that, there appears to be a lot more of it around. That's on the perception side. But also, not looking at infertility as we see it today, we are seeing a lot more of male factor involved in fertility. And in about 50% of couples, there's a male factor component.
That's nice to know. It's not always the woman's problem.
Not always the woman's problem.
So, but tell me, you see, some people believe that doctors just seek the more invasive and expensive approaches to deal with infertility. Are they playing on people's vulnerabilities?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think when you see a couple who have a fertility challenge, there are three fundamental areas you want to look at. And we usually start with the less invasive tests.
Ideally.
Yes, and I think that's what is ethically taught in medical school. What happens is, a couple who first discover they have a challenge would often go to a general practitioner, all right? And there are tests a general practitioner can do, which are non-invasive. You can do blood tests to check whether she's ovulating. You can send her for an ultrasound scan to see whether she is ovulating. You can send her for an X-ray to check whether her tubes are patent. The husband can be asked to give a sample. These are all non-invasive tests.
Did they try that with you, Nneka?
No, the first one was an invasive procedure.
So you were lucky. Maybe you were in the wrong hands. What do you think, though?
I don't know what exactly transpired in the consultation.
But ideally...
But ideally, your at first contact, you're not going to be looking to do an invasive test as a first test. There are so many simple tests that need to be done before you narrow down to what the potential cause of the infertility is.
Thank you, Faye, for joining us on Short Time, and thank you. We'll be back in a short while with the rest of the program. Welcome back. This is just a half-hour show, so pardon if we don't address all the issues. Fortunately, I'm going to put contacts for everybody that is on this panel, and you can reach them to get to know further about the perspectives that they have taken on the show today. So I'm going to start by introducing the two people who've joined us now, Dr. Ajayi of Nordica and...
Tade Alalade.
I know you are Tade, so your phone is on Tade.
Tade.
Now, I met these two people because of one walk called the Walk for Endometriosis, which is put up by your company. Mm-hmm. And this young woman calls me up and says, I'm supporting them. I'm thinking of doing X. I'm interested in fertility. And I'm like, come and join us. And say, should I come? I said, yes. Why are you doing this? Now, beyond having a problem with fertility, what do you do for others who have it? I will start with Dr. Ajayi. You are an IVF expert in Lagos, and then you decide to focus on... Well, in the world, let me say. And then you decide to focus on endometriosis. Is it one of the major causes of infertility or what?
Well, maybe it's one of the unsung causes of infertility.
Unsung?
Yeah, because in 1990, actually, I had a review. I was in USH then, and I was one of the people who said endometriosis is not common in Nigeria. But
Tell us endometriosis, what is very quickly.
Exactly. So endometriosis is when the tissue lining the inside of the uterus, which we call the endometrium, is misplaced, present any other place apart from where it's supposed to be. Then what happens is that the endometrium behaves just like the normal endometrium. What does the endometrium do? It builds up and sheds. So what it means in essence is that the woman is actually bleeding wherever this endometrium is. So you can imagine.
Can it be on your breast?
It can be anywhere. It can be in the chest wall. So you're bleeding into your chest wall. It can be in the brain. That means you're bleeding into the brain. It can be in the ovary. So you'll be bleeding into the ovary, which means that it's like you're bleeding into your abdomen. So it's like every month, this woman, as she's seeing her menses, is also bleeding in some other areas. Some of them are lucky in inverted open and close in that you can see where the bleeding is. For example, if it's on the navel, you might see that she's also bleeding from the navel every month. So that's what endometriosis is.
That's why you chose to begin to do this.
Now, maybe from a guilty point of view, because I was one of those people who said it was not common, because that was what the literature said. But only for me, when I started doing laparoscopy, to see that this is really very common in Nigeria. And that's why we've been going to the mountaintop to talk about endometriosis.
And it's a lonely top, is it? But I mean, you went for the walk, but you didn't even know you didn't meet until today. No. You know, so but it's beyond that, you also had a group of women who you are supporting, the support group, because that's a good thing about infertility these days. There seems to be, like Dr. Faye said earlier, more people are talking about it and more people are supporting each other as well. Your group is called?
Beibei Haven. So I've formed an NGO called Beibei Haven, and we have hangouts every month. That's just to get women that are going through the same issues to come together, share and talk about their experiences. And I always tell people that when you actually share your own experience, you actually don't know who you're helping. You may help that one person that needs the help the most to get through their own situation.
So that desire to help for you, for example, was triggered by what?
Well,
with infertility. Yeah,
I have a history of fertility issues. I always try to use the word fertility issues. I don't like the word infertility.
Like the word.
I don't like that word. Fertility issues. So I went through fertility issues and it was a very lonely road for me. I had no one to talk to about it. I wanted to go and meet a pastor, but then I had to book appointments to meet, and I was already going through so much.
Did you ever tell you are too young to be bothering about that?
When I told them my story, it was inevitable. I needed to get help.
Okay, I'm going to scroll babes on air so that they can know how to reach you. Okay. But I went that route because I want to bring Faye in at this point in time where, because earlier we're talking about God issue being important, is there a danger in women focusing on the God aspect? It worked for Nneka.
Well, like I said earlier, that the whole of medicine is about God, right? Doctors treat. I'm sure you've heard it all before. Doctors treat, but God heals. And it is God has given doctors knowledge to apply this knowledge for the good of mankind. So there isn't a disconnect between God and medicine. I
think God wills everybody to have a child, eh?
Nneka, I believe so.
You believe so? Everybody here has kids.
Yeah.
You have one, you have two, you have four. You have how many?
Four.
Okay, and I have, no, forget about it.
Oh, yeah. You are the captain.
We'll see you again next week. Thank you for watching. And we're going to still be talking about fertility, but this time we're going to have a group of women who will be sharing more about how they have faced their challenges. But in all of this, seek knowledge, don't make hasty decisions, and trust God. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.